Thank you very much, President Supple, Sally and Bill, John, distinguished guests, and all of you in the audience. I didn't expect to find myself feeling emotional today, even though it's an exciting day for all of us and for Southwest writing and Texas history. When I walked in and saw my friend Jean Lee, I felt really quite overcome with the realization that I have at one time or another in my life met and known a number of the people who are contributors to this collection. I've sat at Jean and Russ's feet in the old days and some of the new days, saw Bedichek and Webb and Dobie sprawled on the rocks at Broughton Springs, have had many good times with Larry King and Billy Brammer, listened to Larry McMurtry spout forth at Schultz Garden, spent a lot of enjoyable time in the company of Gary Cartwright, Bud Shrake. I could go on for a long time, but we have made a sort of a common pact that I won't tell what I know about them if they won't tell what they know about me. But as we were sitting here, as I was sitting here and listening, I thought of one story that I felt that I really must share with you. It was a river trip, John, down the Rio Grande River. I have forgotten which canyon, most likely Boquillas or Mariscal. And there were a number of vagabonds and renegades who were on that trip. In one boat was Willie Morris. Willie was having all of his success as the editor of Harper's Magazine, and he was in the canoe with a man named Neil Caldwell. Neil is now a district judge in Angleton, Texas. I thought of this particular story because I just spent last week riding the Rio Grande again, about 20 feet above normal, and experiencing that wonderful country once again. But anyway, Willie Morris and some of the fellows on the trip were inexperienced paddlers. And you really don't get on the Rio Grande River unless you have some notion of what you were doing. But we felt that Neil was skillful enough that he could get Willie through almost anything, and he did. But we camped out one night on the river, and the next morning I was going down to the water's edge, and there was Willie Moore with a collapsible toothbrush, performing his morning cleansing in the Rio Grande River. And I said, my God, Willie, don't you realize that all the effluent of Mexico and a number of houses that should go unmentioned is coming directly into this river, and you are putting it in your mouth? And Willie was really horrified at the lack of the pristine nature of the outdoors. And I wanted to tell you that story so that you would know that we must not deify these people because they are fallible. Unlike John Graves, I make a lot of speeches. But I must say that the speaking of words at a convocation for some of the best writers in the world is an awesome prospect, especially when many of those writers are your cherished and admired friends. If you take from a shelf a long-worn and much-loved copy of a book like Goodbye to a River, or The Gay Place, or Blessed McGill, you explore familiar territory. And as an older and more experienced, if not wiser Texan, you're really stunned with the truth of what you read, with the power of the letters and the syllables and the images that provoke recognition, make you lapse into reverie, that make you warm with memory. You read the words written by people who are often contemporaries, and you know from firsthand observation that they are plainly mortal. And you realize that they possess some peculiar clairvoyance that materializes in ink. In Blessed McGill, Bud Shrake wrote, "More enters a man's head than he perceives. So we do things that amaze ourselves." Well, the artists who are a part of this collection have shared the same Southwest with us, but somehow more of it has entered their heads and come back to us in ways that amaze years after the work is done. Whether it is the photographs of Russell Lee, the plays of Preston Jones, the screenplays of Billy Whitliff, or the novels of Larry McMurtry, the characteristic that unites these artists is the ability to connect a place and the people who draw life from it. When our friend John Graves writes about the Brazos, he writes about a whole river, a river that weaves itself into the lives along its banks. And when Billy Lee Brammer wrote about Arthur Fenstermaker, he wrote about a politician who was so much a part of Texas that we cannot imagine one existing without the other. When he describes the land in Texas as barbarously large and final, well, you know he could just as well be describing Governor Fenstermaker. And what we sense in all this work is that we in the Southwest are bound to what the Spanish language calls querencia, a place of such deep meaning and strong fealty that neither time nor distance can separate us from it. If we recognize ourselves in the works of this collection, it is because we are there. J. Frank Dobie said, "It seems to me that other people living in the Southwest will lead fuller and richer lives if they become aware of what it holds." The men and women whose work is represented here heighten that awareness and show us a truth about ourselves that we might have missed without their amazing ability, as Bud said, to know more than we perceive. These artists remind us that of who we are and where we come from, and that it is a source of pride and limitless imagination. We are indebted to Bill Whitliff for the wisdom to know that this extraordinary talent should be collected in one place, to inspire young talent, to offer a center for research, and to give the world a chance to know us better than we know ourselves. People ask me all the time, what is it about you people from Texas? What is it? And I usually answer that I think it's in the water. But the more likely truth is that it is in the writers that tell our story. It is a privilege here today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Governor Richards. We are honored by your presence. At this time, I would like to invite Governor Richards and all of the platform guests to go to the area immediately behind me for the cutting of the ceremonial ribbon that will officially open the Southwestern Writers Collection. And while they are preparing for that ceremony, Let me take this opportunity on behalf of Southwest Texas State University to express our appreciation to all of you for taking time to attend this dedication. I know you will agree with me and with the remarks made here today that we are most fortunate to have this collection and those who support it. We're pleased that it's here today and that it will be here in the future to serve and inspire students and the community. Following the ribbon cutting, we hope that all of you will join us at the reception, and we invite you to tour exhibits in this area and those that are on the first floor. And if you haven't had time to sign the guest book, we hope you'll do that before you leave as well. We will now conclude our ceremony with the formal ribbon cutting.
I want you to get Tommy, so you get your leg in I kept thinking all night last night, the pictures are going to be terrible. Okay. You're supposed to hold on to it. Aren't you? Are you ready?
No, come on in. Whenever you are.
All right. Oh, what an honor. Thank you. Well, I'm so pleased to meet you. We're really excited about this, you know.
I am too.
We got a lot riding on you. Just, how are you? Thanks.
Hey, how are you?
Rose, aren't you a pretty young woman? I'm so pleased to meet you. I'm glad you're here on this important day.